Good morning to any replayers. If you're a replayer, you can still participate. You can tap on the screen for hearts. If I say anything that resonates, you can share this broadcast with a person or your followers that need to hear it. And you can, of course, find me on Twitter. Hi, Kimmy. At joannazarach, as well as on Snapchat at joannazarach, because there you can ask me questions and directly. Hi, how are you? Hi, everybody else, to everybody that can join live. Welcome, and good morning, happy Sunday. My name is Joanna Zarach, and I do a daily broadcast on money habits. I do a 10 a.m. Central Time broadcast to encourage people to develop better money habits. It's one of the fundamentals in my money management routine is to really have a few set habits. Hello. And hi, Dreamweaver. And to develop money habits. And what are money habits? Money habits are just the things that we do. We develop a money system to manage our money. It can start with some basic things like just tracking your spending and tracking, determining where your earnings are coming from, tracking all your spending, and then adjusting, right? Creating better habits about money. As you know, one of my messages is to convert people from being consumers to being investors. As you become an investor, you're going to develop some investing habits, things where you take a greater interest in the world. Thank you for the hearts and welcome. Taking a greater interest in the world, high in shadows, being more curious about how money is made is one of the best things, hi Teardrop 86, is one of the best things that you can do for yourself to build wealth, to earn more money, all of the things that have to do with finances. If you're not seeking to learn about it, you're going to have a really hard time changing the equation. So on my broadcast, I do two types of broadcasts. So Money Habits broadcast is every day. It's really a reminder, a check-in, a place where I share my own money habits, and a way where we do every day of the week. We focus on a topic and we just rinse, lather, rinse, repeat, right? Because habits are all about repetition, and it's all about just setting into a routine. Because when you have a routine, hi Melissa, when you have a routine, you don't have to decide to pay attention to your money. That is an intrinsic decision, and everything that becomes a habit makes you much more powerful and much more able to actually achieve your goals. So on Sunday, I talk about savoring. Hi, KB Jones 3. On Sundays, I always talk about like the why, right? The savoring of your success. Hi, Anthony. Good to see you on here. I always talk about savoring, right? Because establishing good financial habits is actually difficult. So I don't want to underestimate the effort that goes into it. Now, hi from Russia. Because if it was easy, we would all do it, right? There's no instant gratification. Hi, Moloko. Hi, Mark B. There's no instant gratification. Hi. There's nothing that happens overnight when it comes to financial success. Nothing happens overnight when it comes to business success. Hi. So one of the most important things to change your habits, right? We're all kind of funneled. Hi, my decor and style. To change your habits from consuming and spending to investing and minding your money, like looking after your money and looking after your money. One of the things that you need to really be clear on is your why. Why do you want to be financially free? Why do you want to be financially independent? And what I really mean is something greater than just satisfying your needs and wants and the immediate things. Hi, Sandy. Good to see you on here. Your immediate needs that are going to have sort of the instant gratification, right? Because a lot of people, hi, Rich Miss Hustle, a lot of people will see money. Good morning. It's always a good morning. Dashing plans. Hello, Talgale. Thanks for inviting your followers, guys. I really appreciate it. I know that there's a good community in the people who are definitely spreading the message of becoming more financially responsible and also financially resourceful, right? Like one of the things I want to get people to do is become more confident in their own abilities. Good morning. In their own abilities to manage their own money to seek professional services when you need to, but to really understand how money works, because it's a fundamental need for us in our current system, in our current economic system. If you're not taking the time to understand how money works, it's going to be really difficult for you to become successful. But back to financial freedom and your why. So be real clear about what it is that you want, what it is you want for yourself, what it is you want for your family, what it is you want for your legacy. And all financial freedom does is buys you options. It buys you options on how you spend your time, where you invest your time, right? I invest my time with friends and other business owners. You know, I take my skill set and I convert it into positive results for people. And I worry less about sort of the financial implication of that, of spending my time, as I do. And it's not to say I'm not, like a dog. It's not to say that I don't get compensated, right? I'm a business person, I'm a business owner, but I worry less about it, right? It's not so critical. It's not what I lead with, right? I don't lead with it. I can invest, sometimes I invest months of my time into relationships, business relationships, but also personal, because I only work with people I like. And I help people that appreciate the help. So if I don't know someone, I will invest my time to help them because I feel if my skill sets are helpful. So that's my why. But you need to know your why. Because again, changing your habits is very difficult. But what happens is if you just start doing, right? It's the doing, right? I talked about action yesterday. It's the doing before the results. If you just start doing the things, and this is why I talk about the things that you can take control over, you can do today. You don't have to wait till you're free and clear or you have the most successful business in the world. If you consider the odds and the statistics, sort of, we are all kind of in the middle. My own why, I want to have the freedom of time, right? So freedom is the option to give and to contribute to other people's lives with my skill set without worrying about money first, right? I don't lead with, here's my services. It's because I've been established, right? So I've gotten to a certain point where I don't have to, and I like that. For me, it's really important to be able to give to people, to offer them things that they value before I form a business relationship, right? So that's one of my whys. The other things is I have small children. I don't want to feel like someone else gives me permission to care for my family when it needs to be, when I need to. And those of you with either not just family, small children, but anyone who needs care, anyone who's depending on you, you know how stressful it can be if you are all of a sudden having to seek permission or putting your job on the line, right? Where you are not able to, that's just noise. When you're not able to properly care for your family with your time, right? It's not just money, it's money and time. So that's my why. And then your target, right? Why? So I do three things. I do kind of a money mindset, but I also say, you've got to figure out your numbers. You got to get on top of your numbers, right? And if you don't know your numbers, I talk about scorecards, like what are the numbers you need to know? You got to know your net worth. You got to get your cash in. You got to know your cash out. You got to know your rate of return. You got to know your interest rates. You've got to know your numbers. If you're a business owner, that is so much more important because you can control them. Like that's the thing that people don't appreciate is you have more control over your numbers than you give yourself credit. And that's why knowing the numbers is knowing that you can control them and then start changing them. And what happens again, nothing happens overnight because if you haven't been doing for a long time, if you're just starting, right? This is the whole point. I look at, there are various places where financial advice and financial coaching plays into. And my sweet spot is to get people who have figured out I'm always encouraging people to figure out their income. But if you figured out your income, you figured your skill set, you figured out your own value in the world, what I want you to do is you want to convert into a situation where you're financially free and financially independent, but just starting to make slightly different decisions around your money and slightly different awareness, right? And so that's why I talk about setting a target, which again, it's really hard to set a target if you're super duper struggling and you're still early. But setting a target means taking and calculating, right? This is where I come in with my money math, is calculating what it would take for you to achieve financial freedom. That number may be different for different people. And again, a lot of people start with this like idea that they want unlimited, right? But everything in life is a bit limited, right? So you need to find out your constraints and your needs, and you need to put them in the equation. And so that's why you need to keep your why and your target. And the reason the target is important because you're trying to measure progress against a target, because financial freedom is not very tangible, right? It's not like, it doesn't feel as satisfying to our senses. Like we're not wired that way to do that. It's a concept. It's kind of like, like mature love, right? Or something like that. It's a concept. It's like a construct for our brain. It's very more advanced. And so it doesn't satisfy any of our needs, right? It doesn't feed you immediately. It doesn't have that sense, a sense of satisfaction. And that's why it's harder to achieve, right? It's harder to get yourself to do the things that are difficult. And that's why you need to have your why. And I mean like front and center, print it out on a piece of paper, laminate it, make a vision board, whatever. Put it somewhere visible. Know your why and say, this is what I'm doing. And then know your target, because you got to see, am I making progress towards my target? And that should reinforce the cycle of sticking with the habits, creating more automated systems, making your finances easy. When you conquer at each step, what happens is that at each step of financial maturity on your financial journey, you'll conquer something. And instead of sitting back and going, whew, I got that covered, I challenge you to go to the next step. I challenge myself to go to the next step, right? I've got a lot of things conquered, but not all. So I challenge myself to get to the next level of like financial sophistication. And what do I mean by that, right? We start with some basic stuff where you track, where you automate, then you start being an investor. Then you start being an intelligent investor. Then you diversify. Then you look at passive income streams, right? There is just so many stairs to climb. And I don't want people to kind of rest on their laurels and say, oh, good, I got my system in. That's like my money's on autopilot. Money is never on autopilot. When you ignore your money, it will go away. It's one of my favorite things to say. Because you have to pay attention. And you don't have to be obsessive. The systems that I want people to set up are something that you just do every day, a little bit, 5 minutes at a time. And when you have a habit, when you know what you're looking at, right? That's the thing. You've got to learn. You've got to set up the system so that you know what you're looking at, right? When you look at the stock market, when you look at your bank accounts, when you look at your credit cards. And the more you look at it, the less surprises you get and the less anxious you feel. That's the other thing. I feel like people feel so anxious when it comes to money. But when you have your why and then you have your target and you're doing something to actually achieve progress and you have a money plan, like you're going to achieve it, right? Like that's just statistics. That's not even fact. It's just statistically true that when you do those several things, when you follow them, you will achieve your financial goals. You got to be consistent. You've got to write them down. You've got to have a plan, because when you know your why, when you know what you want, and you got to be specific about it, when you know what you're trying to get to, I can tell you that figuring out the path becomes so much easier. But when you're muddled, when you're just kind of going day to day, when you're just surviving, when you're just hoping for the better, when you're just waiting for someone else to save you, whether it's that future spouse, an inheritance, a professional, someone else to come and solve your problems, then you are letting go of all that control. And so there are way too many people in the world who are not taking the resources available to them, the knowledge and the education and the tools, right? I just love the explosion of financial tools that's coming out. I haven't used most of them, right? Like my experience is limited. I know there's new stuff coming out that's going to make things easier for people, right? Hi, how are you guys? It's good for you guys to join. Good to see everybody on here. Talking about, oh, thank you so much. Talking about people keeping their why and their target in mind when they're following through on their financial plan, on their money plan, right? Have a plan for your money and have a place for you to reflect on, to say, I'm making progress. I am on track. And eventually, when you have that target in mind, you're going to make it to the target. And then you can be like, wow, I really achieved that. And then you can really flourish. I read this is I read this Quora, by the way. If you don't read Quora, or if you don't subscribe to Quora, Quora is a fantastic place to really access that kind of the hive mind of the best of the best. They curate the answers based on people's feedback to questions that anybody can ask. We don't need money if we were rich. Yeah, but you can achieve, that's right, you don't need it. You create a separation between yourself and the need for money, and then you just pursue the benefits of your skill set. But I read a story on Quora, an answer on Quora. I think it was like what it's like to feel rich or feel enough. And then a fellow wrote an answer which I thought was really, really meaningful. The prolix, I don't know. He wrote, he was a private equity guy, and for some, I think it's really interesting to understand how private equity works. How, when you look at where money's being made in the world and you look and you're just like, get real old gaga over it, understand how those people make money, right? That's actually really interesting, right? So understanding how private equity makes money. So a private equity guy and said, I was on a plane and this like deal came through, and finally like this big chunk of money hit my bank account, so I knew I had enough. But he says really didn't understand the sort of wealth building of financial freedom till he stopped worrying about getting more money. It says when he stopped doing it and actually put his skill set and put his passion. Oh, sorry about that. Sometimes when I close my door, I think that happens. So hopefully you can get it on the replay. I know I noticed yesterday when I was doing my replay, it was really cranky. I have to figure out, I reset my internet yesterday, but I don't know if it's me. So anyway, the guy said, when he stopped putting money first, he was able to actually build a company that was much more successful. Thanks. He was able to build a company that was much more successful in terms of what it delivered, but also financially more successful. And he had a graph on his wealth taking off after he stopped having to pursue money. And I think that's one of the most important things that I can share with you guys, is that when you get to the point where money is not the primary object of your activity, you can actually build a lot more value into the world, and you will be able to receive much more. But when you are in the struggle, and I understand the struggle because coming from very meager means, it is like I pursued careers or jobs or money making just because I needed to. And so it's okay to do that. But if you just keep doing that just to like buy more and spend more, that'll be really, really hard. Yeah, no, I thought it was really insightful answer. And I feel the same. When you get to the point where money is no longer the primary objective, you will be able to achieve more with your life because you're able to put more of yourself. You're able to give more of yourself because you're not expecting something like a financial, you're not putting a number on the value that you provide. And I can tell you that everybody has their talents. Everybody has their talents. I look at people I know and I see their talents. They don't often see themselves. I see their talents. And if you can put your talents to work without worrying about how the world will see your value, you will build something much bigger than yourself. So that's the message for today. Again, Sunday is savoring it. But really, if you don't know your why, if you don't have a target in mind, and if you're not executing your money plan, the struggle is real, and I want you guys to savor more than to struggle. And so really do that and have it tangible. Write it out on a piece of paper, put it in a Word document, on a note in your phone, calculate your target, right? Make that number tangible, track your progress, figure out where your money's coming and going, and make a plan for that money. Thank you guys for joining. I really appreciate the attention. I appreciate your time. And I want to support everyone in their journey to financial freedom and financial success. And that's what I'm here for. Thank you, guys. Thank you for that. And I'll be here tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Monday, we always talk about mint. So Monday, 10 a.m. sharpest. Monday's usually pretty good on timing. I'll be talking about mint. It's one of the fundamental things to my sort of financial habits, is to just know it. You're welcome. The biggest thing I want to do is if every day, sort of on average, every day one person takes an action or gets some sort of a mind shift or shifts their mindset on money, then I am achieving my goal, which is to ease people's anxiety around money and create more more goodwill in the world when it comes to people being able to give their skills into the world and offer themselves to the world, because they're no longer leading with the quest for money, and the money will come. So thank you guys. I will see you tomorrow. Have a fabulous rest of the weekend, and you will and I will see you guys tomorrow 10 a.m. starting with the work week on Monday. Bye guys.